Damn, these ones fucking stank it up, brother and sister. More like sisters. Fucking dudes don't fucking vape no more, do they? Oh, some do, I don't know. But it is generally, yeah. Generally, you find those ones who are like sticking onto their filthy durry sticks are mostly of the masculine persuasion. I think maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Hmm. So it's been a whirlwind. A whirlwind. Who would have thought? Um, but as I keep on saying, it's like we all go through difficult times. This has not been an easy year by anyone's imaginings. There are many people who don't even exist anymore, or exist, you know, on a Facebook page that will be there for as long as it's there, and that's all that there is left of that person. You know, people may not have even known that they were still alive when they no longer were alive anymore. So when the pizza comes out and it's cold or it's got fucking anchovies on it or something, um, you know, when someone hurts your feelings, blah blah blah, whatever. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I really am sorry about that. But like, join the fucking queue, join the fucking club. You know, I don't think anybody's had a fucking free ride this year. You know, well, maybe there have been a few, and maybe that's the point. But um, you know, it's just one of those things, I guess. Just one of those days. Um, you know, and last week was intense. Um, a lot of craziness with the weather and whatnot over here, at least. I don't know. I mean, look, it's been such a for goodness sake. There's no authoritative news service that I can go to that's just like, this is what's happening. This is, and it makes you wonder whether that was ever the case. Or maybe that was just an imagination. But it was like, you know what I mean? Like, um, there used to be some kind of narrative to my life. Like, I felt like things were moving along, and I guess in a way it is, being. I guess, yeah. Most of my news service, well, a lot of my news service is Jewish media, which is absolutely delightful, to be honest. Um, just discovering this whole kind of um media ecosystem that's like, different but within the same space as Western journalism. Like, a lot, yeah. I mean, compare it to Al Jazeera. Um, there seems to be like actual look. I mean, it's hard because coming from a very much kind of democratic, legitimate perspectives all around and stuff. There just doesn't seem to be that. Um, I don't know. It's like, at what point do you stop using the blood and dirt arguments and start getting fucking real with the geopolitic of this situation? You know what I mean? Like, if you're constantly uh being suggestive of moving into emotional space, it's all about emotion. It's always emotion. And look, that's not something that shouldn't be thought about. But when emotion comes in, then perspective loses all perception. There is no perception in your perspective. um and yeah, it's like the context of a person's death at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, um, yeah, it's difficult to explain. It's like, hello, when a person leaves this earth in pain and suffering and horribleness, that experience is real. But once they are gone, then that experience no longer exists except in the mind of they that perpetrated it or filmed it or whatever. And I guess in a way, it's like, thank goodness that those atrocities on, last year were filmed. Um, and it's like, yeah, because I'm 42 and thank goodness I'm finally proud of that and proud enough to say that that's my age. Um, because for the longest time it was like, oh, I felt old, blah 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 blah. But now I feel mature. You know what I mean? Like when you consider that, there are 20-year-olds walking around society with, fifth, sixth, seventh grade intellects, um, and whatnot, then, I still fit in, and I know I don't, yeah, um, I don't know. This is just one of those ones where I'll just rabbit on and then maybe put some shit on the speakers a bit later or whatever. But um, I'm really look. You're not meant to count your chickens before they hatched, but as far as I'm concerned, they already hatched. These motherfucking chickens are fucking wandering around all around the place, just going, when the fuck is November 5th gonna come fuck around, so that we can get the fuck out of here? Um, you know, I mean, maybe they should have just stretched Biden out for a couple more months early on and then dumped his ass so that Kamala had less time to fucking how you say tread water, because bitch can't swim. She is just a corpse floating towards the bottom of the fucking lake at this point. Um, while fucking Trumpy's sitting around on like a fucking rubber ducky on a fucking inflatable duck, drinking fucking Bud Lights, having a good old giggle. That's why you always wear a safety vest when you go out on the lake, even if it's just the lake of a fucking general election, of a presidential election, you know. Um, yeah. She was too busy fucking smoking crack and drinking fucking bag wine to remember. And I mean, yeah, even if she'd remembered to like keep her bag wine bags, her goon bags, you know, at least if she managed to, instead of just throwing them away, she would have had something to inflate and fucking hold on to until the end. But she is fucking dunzos, mate. Like next thing she's gonna be on the fucking, she's gonna fucking do a Pornhub special, fucking whatever, like, hello. She's gonna fucking start an OnlyFans before the fucking election, but not of her, but just of like, Democrat babes or something. I don't know. Like, I mean, at this point, it's like anything you can imagine. Hello, hey, Tuck. Anything you can imagine is on the cards with these dumb motherfuckers. And same time, anything fucking audacious and ridiculous. You know, you can imagine fucking tomorrow Trump's out at fucking Elon's place, gets in a rocket and gets into the fucking stratosphere for like 10 minutes and flies down in a parachute or something. you know. Um, Yeah, it's like, yeah, hello, like Trump and Elon playing. Oh, hey, shooter, what the fuck is going on, man? Hey, yeah, it's like Elon and Trump play a game of Truth or Dare with like fucking I don't know a bag of them, and then it's like Elon. It's like you know Elon. Um, are you a Canadian double agent? Trump, can we I don't know put you in a big slingshot and shoot you at the moon? I don't know. Um, but look, am I naive? Am I too cocksure to be cruising back now and just waiting for the planes to come to Australia and stuff? And not the Chinese, Indonesian Chinese ones, parachuting in fucking jihadis with fucking plastic guns and stuff. Yeah, don't think that's coming to these parts too soon. Um, and it's like just wondering with like fucking that Sam Esmail Julia Roberts film earlier this year or last year or whatever about basically the beginning of an atomic war or whatever. And like fucking Obama was an executive producer on it or some shit. So basically, was that film just him fucking throwing money at something that he could jerk off to in the future with Mike? Like, I don't get it. Like, um, it's so weird. Like, was that not a cautionary tale, or was that just like him, like, hoping that the future that he wished for is gonna come or something? Like, it's so weird. It's so weird. Like, I don't fucking get it. Like, I guess coming from Australia, like, as much as I try and understand American culture from your media portrayals and products and all these kinds of things. It's just yeah, I don't know. You fucking get me, shooter, don't you, man? Like fucking when you hear Americans going on about America being the greatest country in the world, it's like, well, I mean, in as much as Australia is basically a proxy of America, no, not basically, like it is a proxy of America. Um, yeah, yeah, you know what I mean. It's like fuck, man. Like if you're saying like America is great because it's fucking amazing to watch, and just like you'll come up with like the most extreme motherfuckers ever. Although Australia comes up with some pretty fucking extreme dudes as well. Um, but it's just like what greatest country in the world do you constantly have your leaders being assassinated and attempted to be assassinated and character assassinated and all these kinds of things, and there's an amendment in your constitution where you don't have to answer a question, and it doesn't matter because you guys have fucking mastered the art of filibustering to the point where it's just like that UN watch guy, you need to get to that like that. Have you done this? Why not? Have you done this? Why not? Like just assuming that they're gonna say no because if they go into a filibuster, that's just a fucking empty way of saying no or yes. Like for goodness sake, it just wastes time trying to fuck. It's like fucking trying to bleed fucking blood out of a stone with these motherfuckers, you know? And it's like one of those moral things. It's like, would I ever get in myself in a position where I could not honestly answer a yes and no question? Um, I really, really hope that I wouldn't. And I think the simple fact is that a person with a constitution like me wouldn't be able to do it, you know? Um, I don't think I've ever look. When I was in a difficult position in my family, I lied about using cannabis, and synthetic cannabis just because I knew that I'd be punitively punished. Um, and in the end, I admit I confessed to it, or admitted to it or whatever, and it became a whole fucking thing. But in general, when I do something wrong and I'm caught, you won't get any, um, won't get any denial out of me. It's like, well, fucking good on you guys. Thanks for catching me. Thank you for doing your job. Whatever. And obviously plead mercy and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna fucking, if I got caught, and it's like that's why the justice system is so fucked. Is because people don't have a moral conscience that they can plead you in the eye as convincingly as possible that they are not guilty when they actually are. And that brings out in this question of innocence. It's a complete fucking mess. Um, I don't know. I don't think it should be a human right to lie. What the gel is this? Um, it is dream, I think, is the effect, or gel, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's what it is. Let let I'm cook 69. What? MCM I'm let him cook 69. Okay, that's a cool name. That took me a little while to work out what was going on there, but yeah. Um, I don't think it should be. It's like this whole human rights thing. It's like what is a human right? A human right is to have basic human needs met. What's the basic human need? Depends where you are. Cheerio. You know what I mean? Like, is it a person's human right to destroy their life? Is it their human right to debase themselves? Is it their human right to exploit other people? Is it their human right to be exploited? Um, it depends on your perception of free agency and all these things. It's like, at what point do we intervene before a person moves into, the circles of hell? Um, and this, I personally think that the counseling sector, all these things, there really needs to be an ethical standard. There really needs to be a model of how people live better lives. Because it feels like it's just a fucking higgledy-piggledy mess. You've got a functioning alcoholic running for president, telling people it's okay to be a fucking brat and blah blah blah. Having fucking tantrums, attacking, verbally attacking people in her audience because they disagree with her on issues, telling them they're not welcome there and blah blah blah. And is interesting. Who was saying the Four Stooges? What, Blinken, Biden, and Kamala, and another stooge. And I'm thinking, yeah, they're the new fucking Gang of Four, aren't they? I hope they go down in history as the fucking Gang of Four, or someone goes down in history as the Gang of Four, the new Gang of Four. Those who don't know, the term Gang of Four, excuse me, which was used by a seminal punk rock band, post-punk band. The Gang of Four was basically, I think it was like Mao Zedong's wife and fucking three other government apparatchiks who basically devised and perpetrated the Cultural Revolution in China. And yeah, this is what happens. This is what happens when the foxes get in the hen house, or the hens get in the fox house, or whatever. are you mad? What am I mad about? What would I be mad about? I'm actually quite happy. Like I'm not bothered. Like I'm a streamer. I do these things. Um, you know, I'm not mad. Like I'm not angry at anything. Look, I'm a little bit angry at what's become of Australia. Gladly I was sheltered from all the economic issues that have been plaguing most of this society. By look, I had 100 grand given to me by my family, what, 15 years ago. Um, sure, it was a bit back then, but that, 80, 100 grand was a deposit on a house. And I bought a house, in the country. Um, and my principle has always been, people only move to the country when they're ready to die. Doesn't mean that they want to die, doesn't mean that they're going to die, but you know what I mean? Like there just has to be something. And I guess, in as much as I realize that were I anybody else anywhere in the world and myself, I could shit could be extinguished in a moment, you know. Um and that's the case everywhere. And I've always held this principle that, like, I never look down on homeless people. I never look down on junkies. I never look down on things like that, because I know that in a blink of an eye, I've traveled through New Zealand with fucking shopping bags, living in dumpsters and stuff. Um, the perception of reality. Yeah, it's all good, man. I know you're trying to troll me, and I don't really care. I'm past silly stuff. So do what you like, man. Um, like, I think compassion, and it's really weird. Like this whole talk about empaths and stuff, and how like like I don't even know the ins and outs. All I know is that I had a pretty good relationship with one of my cousins. But then about a couple of years ago, he had a restraining order put on him, um, because he did silly things in support of his sister um, in a what do you call it, custody battle. And it totally broke him, I think. And since then, my aunt's like, yeah, he's an empath. He doesn't deal well with people, and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know. I mean, in as much as I don't spend very much time with people, um, not out of, well, kind of out of choice, but also, well, not really. Like, in as much as I could go into town in a taxi whenever I wanted to, I guess that's the case. But um, in general, I like to be self sufficient. Um, you know, and I think self sufficiency is something people need to get back to. Making isn't part of the American ethic. Making a dollar out of 15 cents. Um, you know, Stories, people came to the country with a dollar, $2, dollar bill, $2 bills, and made something of their lives. Now people are being shipped into your country and then getting a fucking free ride the whole way. Like, maybe not. Um, but that's the perception I get. And I don't know. I don't know. If you want a sedentary um society that's not actively growing and developing, then yeah, sure. Welfare the shit out of it. They'll, the ones who aren't supposed to survive won't, and the ones who do will, and then you can move on to the next chapter, I guess. But um the simple fact is, COVID completely derailed. You want to talk about fucking disrupting? Like, was COVID fucking, was COVID showing, how you say, uh showcased at fucking TechCrunch or something? Just in as much as it'd fucking disrupt, you know. And I mean, like, I still honestly want to know who the hell are behind Zoom. Who are the people? No, we talk about all these other, all these other big companies, and it's like, who is behind Zoom? And is it, you know, like, is Zoom just a continuation of Skype, or like, I honestly don't know. Obviously, they're not to do with Microsoft. I don't know. Who the fuck runs Zoom? You know? And is there information about it in a fucking Ukrainian briefcase? Who runs the fucking Perspex industry? You know? I don't know. I love being a conspiracy nut. Bust a nut. Bust a conspiracy nut. After I bust a nut. Oh man, I feel like fucking Dorothy in Kansas right now. Like the fucking big one could fucking just blow me away right now. Jeez Louise. No, it's lovely. It's lovely having a shed, a corrugated roof, a corrugated iron roof. Um, you know, it makes me a little sad that, you know, my beautiful slice of heaven is just shared by myself and my two beautiful cat children. But you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles for the meantime. Um, and you know, it is what it is. Hello to all of you. Tuxanu. It was very beautiful. Very happy to have you. Um, and if you want to look, I don't push these things, but I've got about 2,700 and almost 2,730 subscribers. And if I could pump that up to fucking 3K by the end of the year, um, that really, 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 really would be just amazing. You know, it would be, but it doesn't matter. You know, all things happen at God's speed. But that said, part of that's me putting out my little filthy fucking whore message. Like me, please like me. I don't care. Whatever. I know I got famous peeps up in this shizzle, fucking, you know, whatever I am to anybody, that's really not for me to say, is it? But all I know is fucking, you don't go from like a nobody on YouTube to doing Bigo with like some crazy ass fucking celebrities watching you. So, um, yeah, and I was just thinking, it's like, um, I don't know who my audience, who my content is penetrating at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, I honestly don't know. Um, I do know that, you know, Misha Petrov's up in this piece somewhere at some point. um, I know that she's, you know, used. Hey. I know you've used sound that from that dolphin video and stuff, which is really gratifying. Oh fucking Gary. Okay, how long have I got? I got a little bit of time. I've got about another 2 hours, so um, I'm gonna just hang out. I'm a rambling man. I'm rambling. Um, so yeah, look, I mean, I didn't come into this. You look 6 months ago. Um, 6 months? Yeah, I mean, what, April, May. I was still making some YouTube content. Yeah, I better fucking get in the house, eh? Jesus. Yeah, it's fucking hailing. Oh my god. Yeah, I better fucking get inside. Shit. Mad. Shit. That's fucking bonkers, man. Shit. Should be alright. Mad. Hey. Oh. Yeah. It is what it is. Um. Mm. This looks like a really good book. Milan Kundera. Maybe it's time to get out those Kindles and start reading some Milan Kundera. Um, YouTube made me take down my reading of a Milan Kundera story. Threatened to threatened to take away my account for copyright and blah blah blah. Um, and you know, I guess like a coward, I conceded. Um, I don't know. It's those things, and it's like at the time you don't think about it, you don't realize that what they're doing is depriving the world of a story that needs to be told or could be told or whatever, you know. Um, and you know the fact that it was, you know, Milan. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I love Kundera so much. He's one of my favorite authors, of which I've never actually read a whole book, but I've definitely read a bit of it. You know, is you know, real Slavic culture. You know, I think Slavic rebels, man, Slavic rebels, Slavonsky, Slavonska. Fucking hell, not hash. Damn it. Fuck this weather, man. Crazy gravy, man. And the cool thing is, when shit gets fucking popping here, you know it's gonna fucking get off the chain when it heads west or east or whatever. So, yeah. Yeah, no. There's nothing like living in a secure home, I think. And maybe that's something that you come to appreciate a lot more when you're older or something. I don't know, maybe not, maybe not. Um, But yeah, I wish I could fuck. I almost fixed this up. I was like working on this fucking window. a couple of days ago, and I almost got it, but I had to fuck around. It's always that thing. It's like when you find that happy balance, just fucking let it go, or you're just gonna, yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Um. Mm, what me worry? Uh,
I said this 5 years ago. You locked me up. We gotta lock him up. Did Biden say what I think he just said?
I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole with you right now.
Kamala Harris is not a godsend, all right? You people didn't even like her 6 months ago. Now all of a sudden, she's black female Jesus. 2 weeks until Election Day. Some of my brothers have been drinking that Kool-Aid and don't go for the okie doke. The flim flam. Can't do that. The brothers get scolded again.
We recognize what Kamala Harris is doing right now.
Plus, with joy, we're gonna win! 2 weeks to go until Election Day, and Democrats just yanked Kamala Harris off the campaign trail. She took the day off. 0 campaign events today. And the only thing on her schedule, 2 interviews. Not even live. She spent all day preparing because that last interview with Brett, not that great. Or maybe she wasn't preparing at all.
I got money. Yeah, I got money. Well, do you need to borrow some? Fuck. I don't know. Yeah. Got. I don't know how much it comes to, and I don't know where the fuck you at, but like that's what $130. And that's not a fucking brag or anything. I just wanted to fucking show you, dude. Like I do have money. How about you, homie? You fucking living off bags of breadcrumbs or something? And then I got fucking another. So I almost got $140, and I probably got another $2 somewhere or whatever. So yeah, you know. So yeah, I do have money, homie. Thanks for asking. Thanks for caring. I don't know. I don't have any fucking weed left. Gotta wait for that re-up. I'm sure I'll find some fucking. Yeah. Although I think I didn't do a resource dump like I normally do or anything, so don't think there's gonna be any fucking gold nuggets popping up or anything. Nope, that's not a gold nugget. That's just fucking dirt and spider webs. A new. Oh my god, that's kind of frightening thinking of all the fucking women, WIMMIN, fucking that she was planning to fucking install. It's crazy. All these, yeah, she could bring in the self-hating Jew brigade along with the Jew-hating self brigade or whatever. Self-hating Jews and Jew-hating selves, right? Oh, it's a bunkie. Is it a bunkie? Is it a bunkie?
No, of course I don't.
Kamala's trapped because if
Oh.
she says she noticed Biden's decline, she's
It's a
guilty of
bunkie.
cover-up. But if
Is
she
it?
says she didn't notice, then it's just a liar. So she's a
Oh.
liar either way. And then the American dream's dead.
Are the last 4 years an obstacle to you in this race? Here's how I look at it. First of all, let me be very clear. Mine will not be a continuation of the Biden administration. I bring my own experiences, my own ideas to it, and it has informed a number of my areas of focus, most of which are, on to your point, lowering costs.
Yeah, doing this. Doing a bit of that. That's what Kamala's good at. Doing a bit of that. Like fucking Squeaky. Squeaky Cat's not gonna fucking lick his ring in front of you, though, is he?
The work I will do dealing with price gouging, something I dealt with when I was Attorney General, something I will deal with going forward.
What?
Cost of housing.
this price gouging.
Background in every area of the country of every age. And you know, the idea of the American dream was something that previous generations could count on, not as much anymore.
That's horrible.
She couldn't think of anything she did.
Boogie!
And now she says her administration wouldn't be a continuation. Okay, if Kamala had ideas about bringing prices down, why didn't she share them with Biden? Why didn't she tell us Bidenomics was working? None of this makes any sense. Where'd happy Kamala go? She doesn't look like she's enjoying running for president. She definitely wasn't ready to run for president. Yesterday she said, "God, you're scared," and so am I.
If I can just speak to what people are feeling, we cannot despair. We cannot despair.
Well, you should despair, bitch, or get some more wine or something.
As long as we can keep it in our democracy.
I thought she was gonna keep it in, as long as we can keep it in our pants.
To make a decision about what this will be, and that's it. So let's not feel powerless.
Well,
Let's not let and I get it, overwhelming nature of this all.
but we've got five more boxes of box wine. We got 5 more boxes of box wine. It's gonna be fine.
Democrats are starting to ask, what if Joe Biden was the better candidate all along? They want a coup do-over.
Kamala Harris is not a godsend, all right? You people didn't even like her 6 months ago. Now all of a sudden, she's black female Jesus. The way Obama was black Jesus. And let me tell you something. He had a lot more going for him than Kamala Harris does. And not just his firsts go, but his type of campaigning, his type of persuasion, his charisma.
So while Harris takes the day off from campaigning, the real Messiah is filling her shoes, her heels. Barry, Wisconsin, and Michigan today, but he sounded bitter.
Real strength's about working hard. Real strength's about taking responsibility for your actions. Real strength's about telling the truth even when it's inconvenient. Real strength is about helping people who need it and standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves. That's what we should want for our daughters and our sons. That's what I want.
Shouldn't we want a society where everybody can stand up for themselves? You know, when you don't need fucking some Obama fucking standing up for you, fucking thinking that he knows what you fucking think. I don't know.
In the President of the United States.
Yeah, he has a guilty conscience after shivving Scranton Joe for a woman who can't even tell you what a woman is. They're even dragging Michelle, kicking and screaming, out of her Hawaiian mansion to say this is the second time she's proud of the country. Where's Michelle been since the convention? If democracy was really on the line, shouldn't Michelle be living in the battlegrounds instead of Honolulu? Every musician is now being ordered to campaign for Kamala. After Usher, Lizzo, Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder, come on, man.
Oh, and Barack's bringing out Eminem in Detroit. Eminem endorsing Kamala. Does somebody have something on him? Earlier in the day, actor Bradley Whitford from The West Wing put on quite a performance.
What's up, man? City?
the reptilian brainstem of white Christian nationalism.
What the fuck? Projection much? Projection much?
What's next? Is he gonna yank his pinky off and light it like a cigarette? And how lucky are we? How lucky are we to have Kamala Harris and Tim Walz?
If things are so great under the Biden-Harris administration, so great that it should continue, why is everybody so angry? Why isn't it morning in America again? The Harris campaign's running out of ideas and time. According to CNN, their closing strategy is to count on Trump making outlandish claims. Yeah, you can count on that. But that's a strategy? That has nothing to do with Kamala Harris or the American people, for that matter. That's like asking Danica Patrick, how are you going to win the Daytona 500? And she says, I'm hoping the guy in the lead crashes. Oh, if that doesn't work, Biden has a better idea.
Thinks he has a right under the Supreme Court ruling on immunity to be able, if need be, if it was the case, to actually physically eliminate, shoot, kill someone who he believes to be a threat to him. I mean, so I know this sounds bizarre. It sounds like if I said this 5 years ago, you'd lock me up. We're gonna lock him up.
Now,
so I wonder where, like, isn't there a presumption of innocence? Isn't there meant to be a presumption of innocence? Am I wrong? And I mean, I don't think an assumption of innocence should purely be in a courtroom. I think a presumption of innocence should be extended to a person's actions and intentions. You know, you have to prove ill will. You have to prove that there was some kind of ulterior motive behind a person's actions. You know, you can't just go, oh, this is what he said and that's what he means. You know, that is so disingenuous. It is so disingenuous. That's what I personally think. I mean, that said, of course you can have suspicions of people's intentions, but 9 times out of 10, that's just your own head, bro. You know? Maybe not 9 out of 10, but you know what I mean? Like, most people, you know, the borderline personality disorder epidemic has not taken over completely and fully. I do not think. I can only but hope it has not. So until then, I mean, that said, you know, I'd rather personally, I'd rather be wrong and assume people came in with good faith and then get fucked over by it than live with such cynical nature. You know, I take it as something to be, fuck. I don't know if there's anything I don't know. I mean, I think it shows an amount of goodwill within myself, maybe to a naive point, that I have been fucked over by people with bad intentions many, many times just because I assumed that they came from a good place. And does that make me culpable for what then happened? It's like, was it my responsibility to realize that people are shifty and dodgy some of the time? I don't think so. I definitely have become more world weary, more, you know, take a step back and try and work out what the heck's going on. And that's why I'm happy to drop hot takes and then go, was that right? Should I, you know, it's a good thing to question what you've said and the stances that you've held and things, you know, and yeah, I've been thinking about this recently, and maybe it's an idea that I've coined, I don't know, but that it's more important to maintain like moral perspective or moral clarity, moral fidelity than it is to maintain political fidelity. You know, Because ultimately, you know, there's Coke and then there's New Coke, isn't there? And nobody wanted New Coke, so they went back to old Coke. But in this day and age, they just don't fucking tell you that it's New Coke. It's just fucking Coke now, you know? Maybe that's a good analogy. I don't know.
We know he's definitely sabotaging her. Comedian Adam Carolla joins me now. Did he just say what I think he just said, Adam?
Yeah, lock him up. We have lock her up. We have lock him up. I would bet you Donald Trump could do a better job running the country from a prison cell than Obama could do it, or Biden could do it, or Kamala Harris could do it from the Oval Office.
You know, he'd just get McDonald's ordered in, and, you know, he'd have his commissary taken care of. We know that Kamala's not taking gummies, Carolla. That at least makes me sleep easier at night.
Yeah, I know. She doesn't do gummies. She does crazy pills. she speaks. Maybe if they took THC and infused it in Doritos, we could get a coherent sentence out of her.
She's sniffing the dust on the Cool Ranch chip. Black female Jesus not working out the way they hoped.
Yeah. I mean, it's so funny to see these guys come down to earth, like Cuomo and other guys like that. She's a bad candidate. She's not impressive. She stutters. She's dumb. She can't put thoughts together. She talks in circles, a lot of word salad. And he's right to think that way of her. And also, Biden is sort of the demented devil, you know. You know, like, at least we know who we're dealing with. We're dealing with the devil we know who's demented.
Yeah, we don't like a mystery in the Oval. We like a little certainty out there. And I love how Kamala Carolla's asked about the cover-up. She's like, I was there for 4 years. I didn't see anything. Had lunch with him every week. He was great the whole time. And the host is like, are you serious?
Well, I mean, that's her whole thing. She was the last person in the room during the Afghanistan decision. All right, so are you going to take any responsibility for that debacle? No, I am not. But how can you be the last person in the room and have no responsibility for the outcome of whatever we're talking about? So she's between a rock and a hard place, and it's what I like to call stupid or liar.
And she wouldn't change anything about the Biden-Harris administration. Not Afghanistan, not spending $1 gazillion, not opening border. Everything was perfect, Carolla. It was so perfect, the president had to get hatcheted out of there because he couldn't win.
And that just puts the whole turn the page, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff in perspective, doesn't it? Like, if she doesn't think there's anything wrong with how it's being currently administrated, and yet she says she's not part of that administration, then her attempts to make you believe that her administration is going to be different in a better way, if she can't fucking learn any lessons from the current administration, makes you go, yeah, sure, it might be fucking different to Biden, like 10 times fucking worse. Yeah, wow. It's like her new policy to fix the border is to open it even bigger so that there is no border, so that the world is America, or America is the world. I don't know, fuck.
I know. Again, it's how do you...
And can I also say, I keep on saying this, keep on saying it, and I don't know if anyone gives a fuck, but while people are streamed in from the South, how many are coming in through fucking like Minnesota from Canada and whatever, you know, taking the ferry across from fucking Hamilton, all that kind of stuff. yeah, look, it's Canadians are not United States citizens. They do not have the same personality as United States people. Maybe they have a similar accent, but you walk if you go oot and boot with them, you'll fucking realize pretty fucking soon they ain't the same. They ain't the same. And yeah, you're gonna realize when your country is no longer the same. Maybe it's because the people who are running it aren't of you, and maybe that's an unpleasant thing to say, but if Canadian and American and United States identities are different, I personally think. You watch Canadian sitcoms and things, Canadian dramas. It's a lot more kind of social realism or something. Very cynical. You ever watch Kenny versus Spenny? You get the vibe. Like that kind of naive, cynical dichotomy. And the naive, yeah, it's like the naive have bad temperaments, and the cynical are just fucking shit kickers, edgelords. Yeah, I mean that's what Canada's produced, hasn't it? Some of the most hilarious people, and the most whiniest, cryest fucking soy boy people. So, I mean that's an interesting thing to consider. Geographies. I mean, Canada is a country of extremes, geographically wise, weather wise, things like that. And obviously in this day and age, America is so as well. But at the same time, America has that middle ground. Is that middle ground geographically? So I don't know. I just ramble. I'm a rambling guy. Ramble, 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 ramble.
How do you show up to a company and yell, everything has to change? We have to take this company and get it on the right course. And by the way, the last boss did a magnificent job, and I wouldn't change a thing.
That's right. Did you see Trump at McDonald's like the rest of the world? And something about him in the apron with the tie. It's just, I can't get it out of my head.
Well, you notice that J.D. Vance and Trump don't have a different outfit depending on who they're talking to. We talking to inner city teachers, we talking to hunters in the rural Minnesota. I don't have a fake outfit and a fake accent that changes every time I talk to a different group. Trump looks exactly the same every time. He speaks the same every time, and now he's the same, but with an apron on.
Right. It's like they wanted him to wear a hoodie when he was working the fryer. Adam Carolla, everybody needs to check out his comedy fantasy camp. Jay Leno. VJ Leno will also be there. For more, go to comedyfantasycamp.com. There he is. Now, early voting underway, and we have some pretty good clues on how it's going. Stick around. So the polls are swinging away from Kamala Harris, and Trump's taking the lead. That's according to The Economist. Tom doesn't merely make predictions or trust polls, but Democrats are nibbling their nails. Listen.
I'm starting to worry about the polls because I see a lot of the media saying that he's leading and everybody's getting nervous. Why is basically every public saying the election is way too close to call? What is it? What is it that's going on here that has allowed this election to be so close? This race will be far too close. Because unfortunately, we do have a fascist groundswell in parts of this country, mainly among white men, let's be clear, but in small pockets among black and brown men, too.
So we enjoy watching Democrats squirm, but it's always unpredictable. You can't read a lot into polling, even if Joy's nervous. So primetime isn't just looking at polling tonight. Republican registrations are up, and mail-in ballot requests are down. That's good news. We're also seeing Republicans doing something we didn't see last election. Vote early. People are lining up to vote in key battlegrounds like Georgia and Nevada. More Republicans are showing up this time than the last election, by a lot. In Nevada, Republicans erased Democrats' mail-in ballot lead with early voting. Kamala sees the trends too, and is now begging her people to act more like the oldest living president. No, not Joe Biden, Jimmy Carter.
Georgia's own President Jimmy Carter voted early. Just days after his 100th birthday. So look, if Jimmy Carter can vote early, you can too.
Does Carter even know who he voted for? He probably thinks he voted for Biden. Kamala
Probably thinks he voted for Clinton.
They're wargaming worst case scenarios. North Carolina's slipping away from Democrats, and they're panicking about the blue wall. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, they think it might collapse. And her path to 270 is getting lost in the rubble. Now it's every man for himself. Democrats are up for re-election in blue wall states. They're ditching Harris just to save their own skin. One senator in Pennsylvania is bragging about how he bucks the Biden-Harris administration and is embracing Trump's tariffs. They won't even mention her name in ads. But a lot can change in 2 weeks. Neither campaign's going down without a fight. Still in your hands. It's up to you to go vote. And when you do, bring a friend. Bring two. Jason Miller is a Trump senior advisor. What are we reading into these early voting numbers? Miller, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Jesse, great to be with you. We definitely want to be in our shoes than in Kamala Harris's shoes. President Trump's message is working, and all of that work has been put in over the past 2 years to register more Republicans, to get them to show up and vote early, to make sure that we're beating the Democrats. It's something they normally beat Republicans at. It is all paying off. And when you look at the trend lines, you look at the direction of the polls right now, combined with those early voting numbers that really show Republicans are in a strong position, that's a tough thing for Democrats to break. And Kamala Harris doesn't seem to have any sort of a closing message other than Liz Cheney might be her defense secretary.
So what kind of enthusiasm are you seeing right now out in these states? Does the campaign feel that? You guys, go into the campaign headquarters or on the plane and, what's the vibe?
You know what, Jesse, it feels a lot like 2016. As someone who's fortunate to be with President Trump in 2016 and 2020, now again in 2024, you feel that 2016 energy, whether it be President Trump showing up to a packed arena like he's at tonight in North Carolina, whether it be going to McDonald's that he went to in Pennsylvania over this weekend. We saw the clips, we saw the enthusiasm of thousands of people that are out on the street. You can't buy something like that. And remember, when Kamala Harris first kicked off her campaign, they were spending all this money to try to bus people in and try to manipulate some of the image. That's all gone away now. It's weeks after weeks of Kamala Harris being unable to answer simple questions such as what would you do differently than Joe Biden. The more that Kamala Harris talks, the worse that she does. The more that President Trump is out on the campaign trail, he's taken off. It's like a rocket ship. And I really feel good about our position right now.
What does the former president say behind the scenes when he's out traveling with you guys? Is he tweaking the messaging? Is he saying, put another event on my schedule?
Well, one of the things the president will always say is we have to pretend like we're down by 1 point. Yes, we see all the internal numbers, we see the public numbers. Also,
that's a really good way to look at it, yeah.
We see the early vote numbers; those all look good. But we have to play as if we're down by 1 point. You play a prevent defense; the only thing it does is prevent you from winning. So keep working every single day. Don't take your foot off the gas. You have to absolutely power strong all the way through here, because we know that there's something crazy. If there's anything crazy that Democrats would be, I repeat myself, the day we poll, we saw what happened with Hunter Biden's laptop, we saw the nonsense. But if we show up to vote, if we stay strong with that message that President Trump is going to fix the economy and secure the border, Kamala Harris cannot answer a single thing that she's going to do to make your life any better. We're going to win this race, guys. Americans, remember, just a couple short years ago, we had that economy, we had that secure border. We can get it back, but we have to vote. If your state allows you to vote early, go do it tomorrow.
But whose idea was the McDonald's trip?
Well, of course, it was President Trump's. And here's the thing, Jesse, that cracked me up.
Was you trying to go with someone else's idea?
No, not at all. This one was going to be President Trump's idea. He said, you know what? Kamala Harris has never worked a day in her life at McDonald's. Otherwise, she would just come out and lay out the details. Take care of my coworkers when I was at McDonald's. And Kamala Harris can't do that because she didn't work at McDonald's. I think it goes to the fact that she's very inauthentic as someone who's a leader who, I don't know how she ended up in the vice presidency in the first place, but it goes to everything that Kamala Harris does is completely fake. And President Trump, meanwhile, shows up. He has now worked more at McDonald's in his life than Kamala Harris has. I think that really tells about where this election is, and also the fact that President Trump can connect with working men and women, but Kamala Harris can't.
Well, I started in the basement at Fox, and if anybody doesn't believe me, I sat next to a girl named Candy who dotted her eye with a heart. And if I needed to go find Candy, who dotted her eye with a heart, I'd bring her into the show and prove everybody wrong. Kamala, can't find that. No Candy there. Jason Miller, good to see you. Thank you, sir. So who the hell are the Nelk boys? And what are they doing on Trump's plane? So Kamala's got a problem with men, and it just got a whole lot worse. A stunning new poll from the University of Georgia shows that less than 30% of Georgia men support Harris for president. That same poll revealing that just 1 in 5 black Georgia voters are undecided. Many probably won't vote. So Spike Lee is telling the brothers to get it together.
Some of my brothers have been drinking that Kool-Aid. And
Nothing wrong with Kool-Aid, man. Kool-Aid tastes lovely.
In time for this election. And I got to give credit to President Obama because even going really hard on the brothers, don't go with okey doke. The flip flag can't do that. We got to support our sister.
Spike Lee hasn't made a fucking good movie. I don't even know who was the last time he made a good movie. He fucking sold the fuck out with that Jodie Foster, Owen fucking whatever his name, Owen fucking British guy. Colin, I don't know, Colin Owen fucking some fucking, yeah. And remember, Kamala never cared. Like, remember that whole Zoom thing where it was like women for Zoom, like black ladies, white ladies, white dudes, and very, very conspicuously, oh yeah, cat ladies, fucking giraffes, fucking whatever for Kamala, but no black men, no black dudes, no fucking, you know, whatever, no house niggers, no nothing, you know. No, and then it came out, there was that footage from like a barbershop with like 3 dudes. And it's like, yeah, nah. So no fucking surprises there. None whatsoever.
Kamala's also running behind the Hispanics, so she's providing them with cash, just like she did with blacks. $20,000 forgivable loans, $25,000 checks for first-time homebuyers.
Which she won't give anyway.
She's literally cutting checks to minorities to save her life. Trump isn't promising welfare checks, just the American dream.
Yeah.
You didn't pander to us. You gave us opportunity, and that's what we want. You know, we want the American dream. My mother was born in Mexico. My dad was born in Brooklyn. They're very humble means, and they worked very hard to achieve the American dream. And I got a front row seat on how much you care about the Latino community, and you delivered results.
Even though Joe and Kamala are bribing college grads with loan bailouts, young voters are voting early for 45. Wow.
Who are you voting for? Trump, baby. Trump.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so fucking good. It's so good.
Donald Trump. I love Trump. Trump.
The New York Times is wetting the bed. Almost exactly equal shares of young men and women say they'll definitely vote in this election or have already done so. But since the spring of 2020, the share of young men identifying as registered Democrats has dropped by 7 percentage points, while those identifying as Republicans has increased by 7 points. So that shift of 14 points in just 4 years. Trump's going on Rogan Friday. And just like Kamala had the opportunity to go too, but she didn't figure it out. So they have a long way to go to catch up to Trump, and right now, they're sucking wind.
I think we have to be doing more to reach out to Gen Z men, both for this election and for the long term. This is what Trump is doing right. Maybe canceling his events, maybe canceling CNBC and NBC and all the other things. What he is doing is every day sitting down and doing a podcast with some podcaster whose audience is largely young men. And that's what he's making in this election. We have to respect that.
Trump kicked Aaron for that. His appearances on podcasts has been reaching out to audiences no other politicians have been to. Have you ever heard of the Nelk Boys? They've got about 20 million followers, and they just took a ride on Trump Force One.
You don't like her, but that's Kamala's greatest achievements. That's very good. They're always working. That's good.
I'm with your favorite people, the Nelk Boys. They're having a good time at my expense. They're having a good time on my plane. Please, it's a little rougher landing. It's a little rougher landing today, Vanessa. So I'm here with your friends, the Nelk Boys, and they are the modern-day Johnny Carson.
Co-host of Full Set Podcast, one of the Nelk Boys, Kyle Forshard, is here. What's up, Kyle?
What's up, Jesse? Big fan. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, well, of course, every time I look around, you're hanging with Trump on the plane, you're at a UFC fight, you're golfing with him, he's on your podcast. Did he adopt you?
I think we're pretty much adopted this week, honestly. We're like a great grandchild at this point.
I mean, you guys, are you angling for a position in the administration? Are you going to be Secretary of Energy?
I recently did a speech about ZINs. Tim Morrill's putting 95% tax on ZINs, so I was going to be the Secretary of Upper Deckers. But I'm happy with any cabinet position.
All right, so you're spending a lot of time with the big guy. What do you want to tell the people that a lot of people don't know about?
I mean, we met him about 4 years ago. We actually went on Air Force One in 2020. And 4 years ago, he's been the same guy that he is now. He's just, off camera behind the lights and stuff. He's just a cool guy. He's a great guy to be around. He's nice to everybody. But yeah, he's just remained loyal. I think now a lot of podcasters, it's kind of cool to mess with Trump. But back in 2020, it really wasn't. And then I think that's when we had him on. So he always remembers that we were kind of the first podcasters to have him on when it wasn't cool.
So you're taking full credit for him blowing up in the podcast world?
Oh, we're taking full credit. I think he even gives us credit too. He told us in 2020, make sure you guys don't fold, and he really remained loyal to us after that.
Why do you think young people are coming around to him? What is it about Trump that they didn't see the first time?
You know what? I just think there's so much crazy stuff going in the world. You got men playing in women's sports. You got wars going on now all over the world. World War III is pretty much almost here. Kids are coming
It's
out.
here, baby. It's here.
I think it's Trump. I think it's just people are seeing the chaos. They're seeing the craziness, and people are fed up with it. We've seen what the last 4 years have been like, and people they're not having it.
Yeah, so my team sent me some research on you. You're Canadian. Are you even allowed to?
I am, yeah. I'm not allowed to vote. After Trump wins, we got to get him to tackle Trudeau next. But
There you go. There you go. There you go. And of course, Canadians never naturalized to become Americans, do they? Because they can't be fucked. Oh, right. It's funny, these videos are uploaded by some dude in India, and they always end with him in the... Or maybe, no, Vietnamese, I think, or Cambodian.
Nhiều lúc con là cái việc bên nào phân tết đó là một suốt này.
Ở đây. Ui nhầm. Ủi nhà trong như người nhá, ủi nhà chưa trong nha. Mà chưa bao phân đấy kia nhà bữa nay chắc phải bao phân nhỉ. Cho phân vào thì có khi nó tốt hơn. Khi là được thôi. Được này. Đây. Được rồi, xuống đi.
Em biết là tụi mình là gì.
Được không mình nè. Chắc là nhé.
Bác là ngọn thì thôi ạ.
Ôi, cây chết rồi, giam đây. Giam đây. Bắt đầu đi. Ha. Mình phân cất lên bằng đi. Thì chăng thôi. Bắt đầu. Không sao, mình không thích.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingram. This is the Ingram Angle from Washington tonight. As always, thank you very much for spending time with us. All right, news times tonight that the Harris campaign is gasping for air. So Kamala took the day off from the campaign trail for airtime on NBC. And she continues to pillory Trump's.
Are you willing to debate Senator Thorpe? She did complain on radio that Peter Dutton, whenever he sees her around Parliament House, just goes the other direction.
Okay. To the states now where the campaign for Kamala is just becoming so miserable. Can you imagine being one of her staffers right now? Here's a former campaign manager for Obama back in the day, speaking to mainstream media, explaining what these guys are up against on Team Kamala.
So there's really difficult decisions being made in Wilmington right now about what you do with her time, what you do with the surrogate's time. You know, there's competing things. The press team wants her on these TV interviews. The fundraising team wants her to do one more big event in X City. The battleground states are saying we've got to have her 3 more times in Michigan. And so, you know, making those decisions becomes the most important thing. It's why you see these campaign people on TV and they look absolutely exhausted because everyone is telling them they're idiots and they should do it their way.
Yeah.
She's also notoriously hard to work for. When she took the VP office back in 2021, since then, the people that she hired, 92% of them have left. It's an unprecedentedly high turnover rate in the VP's office, Joe. This is just embarrassing. And now we're hearing about how beleaguered they are. There's always been claims of bullying and how it's such a toxic workplace as these staffers have been leaving her office. Disgruntled employees around. And now these guys, given how she's performing in the polls so close to the election, you can imagine how they're feeling.
This is so well, the most amazing thing about that clip is you had Jen Psaki, who is the former White House officer, provided looking like the worst possible smell that just in the air.
Talking about her beloved Dems in such a disparaging way.
That's right. I think she probably would have had some knowledge of dealing with Kamala firsthand. I imagine it's a lot like the sitcom thing, which is pretty much a documentary for anyone who's worked in politics. The best, from having sort of reported on New South Wales politics in the sort of dying days of the last long-term Labor government there, the biggest indicator of crisis is staff turnover, bar none. The biggest indicator of someone who is a rampant narcissist with no capacity to actually do the job is staff turnover. Like daylight.
And what they say walking out the door can be very unlikely. And that 92%, quite a few of them walking out the door said she doesn't want to be advised and she won't read briefing documents.
We can tell.
And explain a whole lot of speeches and a whole lot of interviews. She hasn't read any briefing documents and she doesn't listen to any advice.
And we all know that she's absolutely terrible without an auto cue. And this was made painfully obvious at a town hall meeting recently, where we all know the point of a town hall is to get questions from the audience. It's a very one-on-one experience. People are supposed to feel like, oh, I'm getting to know this person. And they're so accessible. This is marvelous. Well, check out what the audience was told when one of them asked, when do we get to ask questions of Kamala?
You're not, unfortunately. We have some predetermined questions, and hopefully I'll be able to ask some of the questions that might be in your head. I hope so.
You're just here to shut up and listen to pre-planned questions that she's been given in advance and her team have prepared answers for her. Well, much like Kel said, I don't think she'd read the brief because this town hall was an absolute schmozzle of word salad after word salad. Here's one short, painful clip for your delectation and delight.
We cannot despair. We cannot despair. You know, the nature of a democracy is such that I think there's a duality. On the one hand, there's an incredible strength when our democracy is intact, an incredible strength in what it does to protect the freedoms and rights of its people. Oh, there's great strength in that. And it is very fragile. It is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it.
What are you saying? What are you talking about? Do you even know that lady? This is so painful, Kel. I watched more than that, and I was spoilt for choice in picking a clip to play tonight to demonstrate just how bad she is when she's not reading off an auto cue.
She's actually trying to do what are called platitudes. That is really nice sounding phrases that everyone, like motherhood and apple pie, everyone will just nod their head and say, yes, they're nice. So she's trying to do platitudes.
Platitudes.
Something like that. She's trying to come up with nice platitudes that everyone will agree with, but she mangles them. She can't make it coherent. The sentence starts over here, wanders up there, goes down there a bit, and then doesn't reach a conclusion.
And it's so painful to watch Liz Cheney's face throughout this whole video. He's just like, this woman would fail finger painting. I can't stomach this.
It's like when Ben Affleck saw Batman versus Superman for the first time and just said, oh, what have I done? What have I gotten involved with?
I'm sure Kamala's team would have her stick to the things that she's good at, like this.
One Nation Under a Groove by Funkadelic. One nation under a groove, getting down just for the funk of it. Can I get another?
Keep laughing.
Just unbelievable.
She's like,
keep laughing. That's all you can do. That's what she's good at.
She's like black female Stephen Miles.
True.
She does all those ridiculous things. Laughs at herself in the hope that everyone else will laugh and find it. So we're having fun, aren't we? We're really just, it's
it's just so terrible. And the Dems have just got to fix this, or they will never win another election ever again. Like the idea that you could have this person running for president in the middle of a cost of living crisis in the US, where you've got Rust Belt, Steel Belt, blue collar workers have turned from Barack Obama to Donald Trump, and now there's been this sort of bloodless palace coup to put her in as the candidate who is going to save America, quote unquote, from Donald Trump Mark II. And it's this, it's the word salad. You see, it's democracy. We have to fight for
your point, Joe, is really good. I think it's damaging the Democrat brand. It must be. Firstly, the Democrats lied and claimed that there was a perfectly mentally capable person in the White House. When they knew perfectly well they had a demented old man in the White House who couldn't do the job and couldn't really understand the English language much anymore. So they lied about that for 3 years.
See, I seem to be going out on a limb with this one. I think it's very similar to the way George W. Bush was portrayed as an idiot. To soften him up, to make him a point of ridicule, to delegitimize him, and to make him, to make him a dunce, and that, I think, considering the neocons who are behind Biden are the same ones who are behind W, clearly because Cheney's fucking in on the circle jerk now, it's like the simple fact that you see fucking Biden one day acting one way and then see him act a different way. I've seen him, act like a dithering old fucking, geriatric on one day, and then fucking shouting at black people and telling them to fucking get in line because it's not your fucking world. And I think this narrative of him being, geriatric, senile, blah, 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 that's what they want. You know what I mean? You delegitimize this person, you make out that he's not compos mentis, then he doesn't have to fucking take accountability for what he's done. Yeah? You need to stop this narrative of him being actually senile or having Alzheimer's or fucking whatever. Because I have worked with people who actually have Alzheimer's, who actually are geriatric and senile. And, for goodness sake, Ronald Reagan was, I believe, he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's at the beginning of his second term or something. And look, this is all, I only know this from the account that Louis C.K. made. But basically he was like, oh fuck, I've just got to hold it out for the next 4 years and, move on. With Biden, it's like, at what point did his cognitive decline start being completely clear? You know what I mean? Like, when did he start stumbling? When did he start doing all these gaffes and things? And yeah, who the fuck knows what? I didn't see that debate with him and Trump, so I've got no idea. Maybe I need to go back to that and have a watch. See, go back to a golden oldie.
And then when people finally tumble to it because of the famous debate with Donald Trump, then they stuck this woman in front of us, this giggling, shallow, distraught. I sometimes keep wondering what's wrong with Kamala Harris. There's got to be something wrong. And Babylon Bee is a famous satirical website. And their answer to what's wrong with her goes like this. There was a time when she did a DNA test, because is she really Indian or really black? So she did a DNA test, and it came back mostly vodka. Her staff were really surprised because they expected some gin in there. So there's got to be something wrong. You just can't understand how someone could be this bad running for president.
Well, the thing was, before Joe Biden's brain turned to porridge, he was actually a capable political operator. He did have connections with grassroots kind of normal people. He did actually, maybe not to all the places he remembered, but he did ride the train. He did talk to people. But I think there's a sense that Kamala Harris, the the most humble thing she can say about herself is that she grew up in a middle-class family with a nice
Don't wait on it.
Like that's as log cabin as you can get. You are an elite. You are a West Coast elite. You are a San Francisco West Coast elite at a time when that is the very type of person that middle American working class people, especially men,
Cannot relate to.
cannot stand, have nothing in common with, and despise, just as they despise people who go to McDonald's.
Okay. Da-dee-dee. Excuse me. More. Okay, full debate, Biden and Trump in the first 2024 presidential debate. Hosted by CNN. Was it hosted by CNN? Yeah, that's right.
We're live from Georgia, a key battleground state in the race for the White House. In just moments, the current U.S. president will debate the former U.S. president as their party's presumptive nominees, a first in American history. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world to our studios in Atlanta. This is the CNN presidential debate.
This debate is being produced by CNN and is coming to you live on CNN, CNN International, CNN.com, CNN Max, and CNN Espanol. This is a pivotal moment between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump in their rematch for the nation's highest office. Each will make his case to the American people with just over 4 months until Election Day. Good evening, I'm Dana Bash, anchor of CNN's Inside.
Well, doesn't it feel like such a long time ago now?
CNN's the lead and co-anchor of State of the Union. Dana and I will co-moderate this evening. Our job is to facilitate a debate between the two candidates tonight. Before we introduce them, we want to share the rules of the debate with the audience at home. Former President Trump will be on the left side of the screen. President Biden will be appearing on the right. A coin toss determines their positions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer a question and 1 minute each for responses and rebuttals. An additional minute for follow-up, clarification, or response is at the moderator's discretion.
When it's time for a candidate to speak, his microphone will be turned on and his opponent's microphone will be turned off. Should a candidate interrupt when his microphone is muted, he will be difficult to understand for viewers at home. At the end of the debate, each candidate will get 2 minutes for closing statements. There is no studio audience tonight. Pre-written notes, props, or contact with campaign staff are not permitted during the debate. By accepting our invitation to debate, both candidates and their campaigns agreed to accept these rules.
Now, please welcome the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden. And please welcome the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump.
Are they going to turn off the fucking
debate? Let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president, what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. The pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach in your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do was try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out in a position where we have 800,000 manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come from a household where the kitchen table, things weren't able to be met during the month was a problem. Price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination of what was left with the corporate greed is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you had to take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos. Literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people. To $15 for an insulin shot as opposed to $400.
This doesn't sound like a senile person. This just sounds like a fucking fabulous. Just a butthurt fucking failure, dude.
No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs that you include beginning next year. In a situation that and we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you.
Of course, I'm running it at 1.5 speed, but you know.
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country, and we have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country. But other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created are for illegal immigrants and bounce back jobs, to bounce back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you, President Biden.
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world. He's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else that thinks that we have the greatest economy in the world. And, the fact of the matter is that we find ourselves in a situation where his economy, here at the wealthy, he has the largest tax cut in American history, $2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president has in any one term. He's the only president other than Herbert Hoover who's lost more jobs than he had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was significant in the military. When he was president, they were still killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't do anything about that. When he was president, we were still finding ourselves in a position where you had a notion that we were this safe country. Truth is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
You want to respond, Jim?
Well, I'm going to ask you to follow up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that doesn't drive prices even higher?
Not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cost countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down, and then they bounced back. And he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months. And then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. He got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years, under both of your administrations, the national debt soared to record highs. And according to a new nonpartisan analysis, President Trump, your administration approved $8.4 trillion in new debt. Well, so far, President Biden, you've approved $4.3 trillion in new debt. So for President Trump, many of the tax cuts that you signed into law are set to expire next year. You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we're getting through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred that tax spirit. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation with all of the therapeutics and all of the things that we came up with. We gave him something great. Remember, more people died under his administration, even though we had largely fixed it. More people died under his administration than our administration, and we were right in the middle of it, something which a lot of people don't like to talk about. But he had far more people dying in his administration. He did the mandate, which is a disaster, mandating it. The vaccine went out. He did a mandate on the vaccine, which is the thing that people most objected to about the vaccine. And he did a very poor job, just a very poor job. And I will tell you, not only poor there, but throughout the entire world, we're no longer respected as a country. They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States anymore. We're like a third world nation between weaponization of his election, trying to go after his political opponent, all of the things he's done. We've become like a third world nation. And it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country. And I'd love to ask him, and will, why he allowed millions of people to come in here from prisons, jails, and mental institutions to come into our country and destroy our country.
President Trump, we will get to immigration later in this block. President Biden, I want to give you an opportunity to respond to this question about the national debt.
He had the largest national debt of any president in a 4-year period, number one. Number two, that $2 trillion tax cut benefited the very wealthy. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. And what's happening? They're in a situation where they, in fact, pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they'd raise $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our health system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person equipped.
You don't make money off companies by taxing them. You make money off companies by them being profitable and successful. And then, building and growing, and you don't tax companies. You get jobs out of companies, for fuck's sake. I don't know.
eligible for what I've been able to do with the with COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with.
Here we go.
We finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump.
Was right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare.
So he's not looking good.
And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people. They cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We no longer respect it. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
Thank you, President Trump. Dana?
This is the first presidential election since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. This morning, the court ruled on yet another abortion case, temporarily allowing emergency abortions to continue in Idaho, despite that state's restrictive ban. Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex, but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception. Democrats, Republicans, liberals, conservatives, everybody wanted it back. Religious leaders. And what I did is I put 3 great Supreme Court justices on the court, and they happened to vote in favor of killing Roe v. Wade and moving it back to the states. This is something that everybody wanted. Now, 10 years ago or so, they started talking about how many weeks and how many this, and getting into other.
I just got to tell that Louis C.K. joke. It's like, you know, the Roe v. Wade. It's like Roe was, you know, it was an abortion thing. It's like Roe was the woman and Wade was, I don't know, the baby.
Things, but every legal scholar throughout the world, the most respected, wanted it brought back to the states. I did that. Now the states are working it out. If you look at Ohio, it was a decision that was an end result. It was a little bit more liberal than you would have thought. Kansas, I would say the same thing. Texas is different. Florida is different. But they're all making their own decisions right now. And right now, the states control it. That's the vote of the people. Like Ronald Reagan, I believe in the exceptions. I am a person that believes. And frankly, I think it's important to believe in the exceptions. Some people, you have to follow your heart. Some people don't believe in that. But I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart. But you have to get elected also. And because that has to do with other things, you got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth. After birth, if you look at the former governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this. He said, we'll put the baby aside and we'll determine what we do with the baby, meaning we'll kill the baby. What happened is we brought it back to the states, and the country is now coming together on this issue. It's been a great thing.
Thank you. President Biden?
It's been a terrible thing, what you've done. The fact is that the vast majority of constitutional scholars supported Roe when it was decided. Supported Roe. And that's this idea that they're all against it is just ridiculous. And this is the guy who says the state should be able to have it. We're in a state where in 6 weeks, you don't even know if you're pregnant or not, but you cannot see a doctor and have him decide on what your circumstances are, whether you need help. The idea that states are able to do this is a little like saying we're going to turn civil rights back to the states, but each state have a different rule. Look, there's so many young women who have been, including a young woman who just was murdered, and he went to the funeral. The idea that she was murdered by an immigrant coming in and talk about that. But here's the deal. There's a lot of young women who be raped by their in-laws, by their spouses, brothers and sisters. It's just ridiculous. And they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state line.
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now back with the states. The states are voting. In many cases, it's frankly a very liberal decision. In many cases, it's the opposite. But they're voting, and it's bringing it back to the vote of the people, which is what everybody wanted, including the founders, if they knew about this issue, which frankly they didn't. But they would have had, everybody wanted it brought back. Ronald Reagan wanted it brought back. He wasn't able to get it. Everybody wanted it brought back, and many presidents had tried to get it back. I was the one to do it. And again, this gives it the vote of the people, and that's where they wanted it. Every legal scholar wanted it that way.
Staying on the topic of abortion, President Biden, 7 states, I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I support Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. First time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, the found the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last, no politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen. Democrat or Republican, nobody wants it to happen.
That is simply not true. That Roe v. Wade does not provide for that. That's not the circumstance. Only a woman's life is in danger. She's going to die. That's the only circumstance in which that can happen. But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Period, period.
Under Roe v. Wade, you have late-term abortion. You can do whatever you want, depending on the state. You can do whatever you want. We don't think that's a good thing. We think it's a radical thing. We think the Democrats are the radicals, not the Republicans.
For 51 years, that was the law. 51 years, constitutional scholarship said it was the right way to go. 51 years, and it was taken away because this guy put very conservative members on the Supreme Court. He takes credit for taking it away. What's he going to do?
Isn't that interesting? Sometimes they're just like, go home, Grandpa. It's the fucking new age, blah, 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 blah. And yet, a law from 51 years ago, they're welcome and very, very, very happy to say that is still something that holds in line with life as we know it. Interesting, isn't it? How many other, it's interesting. If we still had slavery and Trump fucking overturned slavery, they'd be fucking up in arms,
In fact, if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board, at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch, overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, but made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across.
Yeah, look, can't listen to this old fuck anymore, but I don't know, man. Like, what I would say is he's showing enough lucidity there at times for me to completely question this fucking bullshit senility narrative, man. It's just a fucking grift. It is a grift. Am I wrong? Like, really, am I wrong? I don't know. Okay. Anyway, I think I'm about to run out of internet pretty soon, so I want to fucking knock one out and fucking just chill out for a bit. Before I re-up my internet edge. This is a dude I just discovered who I really like. It's Aspen Forest. I don't know if it's... Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know if it's a dude. If Aspen Forest is the name of the band or the name of the singer, I don't know. But so this is Places and Faces, or X Faces. Should be able to climb out the window. Oop. Oh, that room smells so bad. It's fucking ridiculous, man. Climbing through the window. Dork my. Goodness gracious, goodness gravy. Come on for the click. Funny, it's rubbish day. It's rubbish day and I don't think I've got any rubbish to put out, which is pretty fucking amazing. Oh, who's this? Who's this? Who could that be? Goodness gracious me. Oh man, it's fucking rude. Oof, oof. It's fucking, yeah. It's the cat toilet, I think. God damn it.
Coming right up, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Hold me closer, then you throw it back on me. Anytime we act on wrong days, yeah. It could be worse, you could be stuck here next to me. Little way too long. Don't you never waste my time. Don't waste my time. Don't you let me think I'm wasting my time. Don't waste my time. Sick and tired of sugar content. One more party, one more friend that I don't need. 'Cause anytime we act out wrong days, yeah. This is the point where you would pick a side with me. I'm just gonna waste you on.
Okay. My favorite new band, like I looked up Culture Wars on YouTube and this band came up. They called Culture Wars and they actually do fucking slap. So there you go. Anyway, I'm gonna take it out. You know, it is what it is.
Black, red, white, green. Those are the colors on my star team. Combined, we got me behind the scenes. Now we on the stage.
showing seamless years like that. And passion, ambition, and we just lit the ignition. It's getting harder, yes now. Better clear up your vision, cause we just took first position. My purpose, life, and my mission is to be eternally undoubtedly. With full showing things they haven't seen before. The things you could only get when you walk through Pinterest doors. I love it. Riding for my city, keep it. I run my hobby from the cradle to the morgue. And if you hate it, go ahead and do. I've been around the world, but I haven't been any place like this. I've been around the world, but I never seen any place like this.
Yeah, it goes back like glue. First was the colors for between when I had that nice team. With the right means, I'm back with the right team. With the tight team, but I ain't gonna give no tight jeans. When I say that I'm 1960, I meant I say any damn fact that is in my way. Rapping K to the E to the NYA. So pick up my coffee, choose on the BD. I'm gonna shut you in Fishakanya as a Marikiti. Can't easy, one that is our fishy, super and drama, but Papa super and another than Ziki. So we're killing with the truth like pros. What the rapper killing in the booth like whoa. Got the fans like you type pro. You dealing with the best rapper 254. I've been around the world.